You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good people. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka and is an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more, just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15, 2024 to enter for your chance to win. That's WeDoGameDays.com. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends November 15, 2024. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Inc., New York, New York.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. If you're a smoker or dipper looking to make a change, you really only need one reason to do it. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you can find many. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch. It's made with only 6 simple ingredients. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Learn more about Zyn and find your reason to make a change by registering online at Zyn.com.
Welcome to the Hockey Show. My name is Roy Bellamy. David Dwork of the Hockey News is to my left. He is the co-host of the show. Ethan Podolsky is in for Rosie. Rose right now is, I have no idea where she is, but
I'm
she's
not sure, actually. She's listening.
All parts.
Wherever she is, she's listening.
Somewhere in the country right now. So, yeah, it's been an interesting week, and we're only going to talk about hockey. All right. Hot takes. Let's start with the slap shots here. Hot takes. Dave, what you got?
All right. My hot take comes out of, as I get myself situated here, my hot take comes out of Philadelphia. As we learned, actually, you know what? Let's just play the audio. We have that, Ethan, ready to go?
Yeah, Ethan.
John Tortorella talking about how the Flyers are treating their star rookie, Matvei Michkov, who is having a great first 10 games of his career. Let's hear why he was a healthy scratch last night.
Apologize if you answered any of these questions already, but I just see Matvei is out for tonight.
Yes.
What is it that he's not doing that you want to see him do?
Just part of the process.
Is it more a teaching thing?
Just part of the process. Yeah. I mean, I told you guys, with young guys, they can watch games too, as far as development. So it's trying to help them.
Now, the reaction to this has been understandably like, what the hell's going on? How are they doing that with like a potential Calder Trophy candidate, somebody who's playing very well for a first-time NHL kid? I get where Torts is coming from. We've heard that many head coaches here in Florida, head coaches around the league, we've heard that it doesn't hurt for a young guy to get their feet wet, take a step back, watch, and then jump back in. Mm-hmm. I get it. But 13 games into a season where the Flyers are currently trying to save themselves, as I look at the standings, next to the cellar of the Eastern Conference, but it's still early enough in the season that everybody's tight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, I feel like I lost my whole train of thought just because, my hot take was to relax, but now I'm kind of thinking, but is this the time? So I don't know.
That seems like a lukewarm take to me instead of a hot one.
Yeah. I think we need to rename.
Really ran out of steam there, David.
Yeah. Oh, shit. You want to start over?
No. Roy, what's your hot take? Let's go.
Okay. My hot take is a stat that came across my my wire because you love to piss me off when stuff like this happens. Okay, there's a stat that has been tracked since 1997, the 97-98 season. Face-off wins. Okay? And apparently, and this is going to really piss me off as I say it, Sidney Crosby became the NHL all-time face-off wins leader.
Okay.
There hasn't been a single moment in the history of the sport where we talked about a record of face-off wins being broken. What the hell are we doing here? Nobody, who gives a f*** about this? What is this? Face-off wins. This is just an excuse for the National Hockey League to once again shove down an achievement that nobody cares about down our collective throats for Sidney Crosby. I'm tired of this. I'm really tired of hearing about this guy. In 19 years, he's been shoved down our throats ad nauseum by this league. He also, by the way, leads the league in all-time face-off losses. So basically, what this says to me is
Volume shooter?
Yes, he's a volume shooter. He's the Lenny Wilkins. He's the Winnie. He's the. See now I'm stuttering. He's the Lenny Wilkins of the faceoff circle.
He's a compiler.
Exactly, he's a compiler.
Omar Vizquel, the Omar Vizquel of hockey. So
he's
compiles.
He's Lenny Wilkins.
Paul Maurice, most wins, most losses. Well, he doesn't have the most wins, but he's getting up there.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I won't have the same take for that one.
I don't know, it's interesting. I'm actually reading another obscure stat. Sidney Crosby actually leads the league in most circular bunny years when he ties his skates. Nobody has ever done it in the circumference way that he's done it before. It's pretty impressive, actually. But that's only been kept track since 03-04.
Yeah, that's about the same level as face-off wins to me.
Yeah, felt that way.
Ethan, you got a hot take.
I do have a hot take, fellas. My hot take is that Jim Montgomery, as we go to an empty seat, Jim Montgomery is going to be the first coach fired in the NHL
very
this
appropriate,
season.
actually.
Yes.
The empty
seat was for Jim Montgomery's seat eventually. This guy, there has never been a more fired coach in the history of sports. He is just losing control of his team. He was fighting with Brad Marchand recently. He benched David Pastrnak. And Gino, if you can throw that tweet back up there, I don't know if you can. The Panthers have completely broken the Boston Bruins. That was my
that was his tweet.
opinion. That's what I got from the fact that David Pastrnak. The Panthers have been so in the Bruins' heads that they have just broken the Boston Bruins. And the team seems fractured. I mean, they're not playing very well. I know they're still in playoff position, but some of the teams that we were expecting maybe to get back into playoff position, like a Buffalo, an Ottawa, Detroit, haven't really lived up to that standard. So they're still in playoff position, but they're not playing very well. Their numbers are bad. Their metrics are bad. It doesn't look like they're really going anywhere, going to be a team that we expect to contend for anything. And he's got all these problems with his players. 2 bad playoff runs for him, obviously crashing out in the first round with the best team ever and then losing in the second round last year. He is so fired, and I think he's going to be the first coach fired this season.
Dirty talk. I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, during the offseason, they got bigger. And they got slower.
What was the line? The big bad Bruins are just big and bad? Is that your line?
The big bad Bruins are just big and bad. Let's go to the win of the week. I'm going to go first. And the winner this week, for me, is Ty Domi. Ty Domi managed...
no one ever.
Okay. He managed to pull off something that very rarely happens. Embarrass Tom Brady. We have a video of Tom Brady in full hockey gear, by the way.
I didn't believe this was real when I first saw it. I'm like, what? What grown adult, first of all, anybody would do this?
Yeah.
Make a video of themselves like this. But of all, Tom bleeping Brady.
I got to explain this here.
Claire has better form.
Tom Brady's in full hockey uniform, but he apparently doesn't know how to skate. So Ty Domi had him on a skate sled. So he had to push the sled all around the rink so he wouldn't fall.
It looks like he's about to take the snap from the skate sled.
Oh,
I love seeing Tom Brady get embarrassed.
Oh, wait, he's skating without the sled.
Any embarrassing contests of content of Brady, gotta love that.
Yeah, that's look at this. Oh, he almost slipped right there.
Oh my God.
Now, mind you, Tom Brady after the video said he was going to kill Ty Domi for releasing the video. Now, Tom Brady might have 6 or 7 inches of height on Ty Domi because Ty Domi's 5'10", and Tom Brady still surprises me for no apparent reason. Is 6'5". But Ty Domi has 3,515 penalty minutes. 3rd all time. Good luck with that one.
Well, as long as they keep their skates on, they'll never catch him anyway.
Yeah. What's your win of the week, Dave?
My win of the week, also related to Toronto, actually, but a little bit more hockey-centric. It was just an awesome play. It happened in overtime when Toronto was playing Minnesota. And if we have the video here, watch. So Minnesota rushes in, a turnover. Oh no, here comes Toronto going the other way. There's Max Domi right there. He tries to push it up, but look at Jared Spurgeon.
Wow.
Hustle his ass off to get back, but then have the presence of mind to throw it up in one motion. Game over.
That only happens in overtime for 3-on-3.
Minnesota,
that can't happen 5-on-5.
That was so cool. But how cool was that play? How smart was that play by Jared Spurgeon to not only recognize, to get on his horse, to back check, to stop the rush, but then mid back check, know that that they're changing, the Leafs are changing. I just got to throw it up the ice. And then there's 2 of the best young players in Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy. And game over on our boy Anthony Solars, who's been amazing for Toronto this year.
Yeah, he left that net wide open up.
Well, he was probably like, what the hell? We're going for a line change, and now I'm facing a 2-on-0. But I just thought that was one of the smartest hockey plays I've seen in a while. Credit to Jared Spurgeon for that. That was really cool.
Ty Domi, not exactly fleet of foot.
No, Max Domi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Ty Domi was not
Ty Domi,
fleet
that
of
was
foot.
the previous video, but Max Domi, his son, not exactly He didn't exactly put a lot of effort into it. It was late in the shift, though, right?
It was late in the shift, but still, you can't lose in overtime like that.
Mm-hmm.
But credit to Spurgeon, smart man.
Ethan.
I don't have a winner this week. I just want to say Minnesota's really good, really dangerous, and Kaprizov looks like the Hart favorite so far.
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Along with Sam Reinhart.
Somebody's going to get a jersey that just says Reinhart.
Right. That was my idea.
That's been my joke for like 2 weeks now,
Oh,
David. Is that he's going Reinhart, the Reinhart Trophy. Roy, what's your loser of the week?
My loser of the week. This is a big time fail here. This is Hurricanes defenseman Jalen Chatfield.
Oh, this is so good.
Apparently, he has a pregame ritual during the pregame skate. After he's done, After he's done with pregame skate, he goes from one side of the ice across the blue line to his bench, and he goes into.
And he falls?
But he lost an edge and completely crashed into the boards. It was bad. He lost that edge, crashed into the boards, got up, dusted off the snow, and then walked to the locker room to the applause of the fans that were around the bench. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, well, you turn the fail into a win, so credit
I don't
to
think
Chatfield.
no win in that one. No. Dave?
My L of the week comes from the game between the Kings and the Predators, and I think most Predators games have come with L's this week, but this game was just the shit show from the start. There was the official getting hurt. Oof. There were multiple pretty crazy, intense fights in this game. There was a lot of hostility for a game between a couple of teams that are just fighting to get above the playoff Mendoza line.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nashville in a lot worse space. This was a great fight. But just haymakers going left and right. The Kings ended up winning this game 3-0, as Nashville has just been a kind of a joke this year. It's surprising based off the moves they made. But yeah, this game was just bonkers. Here they go again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It made me feel good as a hockey fan to watch an entertaining shit show.
Yeah. As opposed to last night.
You know, some decent goaltending, some fun goals, but overall, I feel like we've talked a lot about Nashville this year. They're just a mess.
Yeah.
And considering the moves they made, the Stamkos, the Marchessault, Bruno was a Jack Adams finalist. Just what the hell's going on?
We'll get into Nashville a little bit later when we recap the week that was for the Panthers. Ethan, do you have any notes here?
I was just going to say about Nashville, but I guess we'll get deeper into them later. It is interesting to hear them say, and maybe we'll talk with Adnan about this, that Barry Trotz saying rebuild already this early in the season. Yeah. And what do they rebuild with? Like, are they going to trade the guys that they just signed?
Yes.
I mean, that's
Definitely.
crazy. That's 2012 Miami Marlins type stuff. Like, it would be insane to see them trade a Stamkos,
back to
Marchessault,
retaining $1 million in salary.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How about that?
You heard it here first. Telling you.
All right. Why don't you toss the Adnan here because we got like 20 seconds.
No, I'm excited. We're going to talk to our boy Adnan Virk from Prime Hockey, see how it's been going up there in Canada so far. It's been a fun few weeks, and I definitely want to get his take on some of the craziness happening in the league. So let's talk to Adnan.
Hey folks, it's Mike. Put the town on alert! This weekend begins the first edition of the Choque de Gigantes tournament right here in Miami, Florida. This 6-game tournament will run from November 8th to the 10th at Lone Depot Park. It's featuring the best league teams from Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. Game Time is offering 10% off on Choque de Gigantes tickets until Friday, November 8th. Game Time has this great feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting into your favorite games even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time Picks, it helps make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater, and so much more. It also has all-in pricing, which for me is key. I hate it when I check out and I see all sorts of additional fees. Well, with one click of a button, you see all-in pricing, so there are no surprises at checkout, and you also get panoramic seat views. Take the guesswork at buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!
Dan Le Batard.
We're gonna win.
Stugotz.
We're gonna win.
They're annoying.
What an old reference.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, joining us today is Adnan Virk. He is the studio host for Prime Canada Monday Night Hockey. And it's been a month already, and it seems like he's having a good time. Adnan, what's going on? Do you have any stories about what's been happening in the studio for you?
Roy, it's been fantastic, man. Honestly, one of the great parts of working on Prime Monday Night Hockey has been the experience of going to different arenas. Now, of course, being from Toronto, it's always good to be back home and get to see my friends and family, et cetera. But, it was a great environment there. I got to see Matt Sundin. Obviously, working with Mark Messier has been fantastic. Blake Bolden as well. First game was in Montreal. That's one of my favorite barns. The Bell Center always is a great crowd. Fans are very knowledgeable. Penguins are playing there. Got to see Sid. But I want to talk to you about week 3. Because even as a proud Canadian, I'd never been to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Didn't know what to expect. So out of Newark, New Jersey, exactly. Out of Newark, New Jersey, 2.5-hour flight to Minnesota. Minnesota, hour and a half to Winnipeg. Surprisingly, the hour and a half flight to Winnipeg, nicer than the 2.5 from Jersey to Minnesota. Whatever, just nicer plane, better food, better amenities, etc. But we landed in Winnipeg. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. And one of the first signs is, let's go Bombers. Which a friend of mine said, Yankees. I go, no, it's the Blue Bombers, of course, the CFL team. Like, right.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest, fellas. There's not a whole lot in Winnipeg, okay? I got right to hotel, Radisson, $155 a night. It's like a 5-minute walk from the arena. There's a Dollarama across the road, a couple of Canadian staples like Moxie's and other restaurants. But I'll tell you what, man. That arena, they're rocking and rolling. Only 15,000 at the Canada Life Center, but that crowd is into it. And that's the one loss the Jets have suffered, which is against the Maple Leafs. And further proof of the power of Leafland, I'm telling you, 5 minutes in, fellas, Jets get to lose a game, and you can hear the Go Leafs Go chants. So it's obviously a very passionate fan base in Toronto, willing to go to Manitoba for a game. But props to Winnipeg. I'm glad I got to see it. Was worried about the cold, but I'll be honest. It was October 25th, and it was like 60 and sunny. So I guess I lucked out. It is not going to be nearly as balmy when I'm there in Winnipeg in February, but very cool to talk to Scott O'Neill, of course, the head coach. This is the second team ever, fellas. 13 wins in their first 14 games, along with the Ottawa Senators of 06-07. Obviously, Kyle Connor's been tremendous, along with Mark Scheifele. They have arguably the best third line in hockey. Nito Niederreiter just played his 900th game. He's great. And obviously, Connor Hellebuyck, 2-time Vezina winner. So very cool to get to Winnipeg.
October. Of course, it's not going to be as cold as it's going to be in February.
So we were in Edmonton in June, and it was lovely. So, we're not going there in December.
No. Oh, no, we are not. No.
Pass.
That was pass.
Well, here in Adnan, talk about the travel. Just getting there seemed, oh, man, that sounds lovely. Just a nice little 2 chill flights.
Brings back memories, doesn't it?
Not really. Our travel day took like 2 days to get there. No, thank you.
Not again.
No.
Unless it happens.
To your point, David, I've never been to Edmonton. My first Edmonton flight is to see the beloved Florida Panthers. Panthers and Oilers, December 16th, me and Mark Messier. So, yeah, that's pretty north up there in Alberta, as you guys know.
The happy hour specials at Joey's. Check them out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say,
they got that lime slush. Oh, my God. Best Jack and Coke I ever had in my life.
Remember, they got one in Aventura.
They do, but it wasn't the same. I did go to the one in Aventura, and it looked, but it didn't taste. I wasn't like going crazy for the flavors that I went. And maybe something in Edmonton, I don't know. They had that Alberta beef that was delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But talking about the show, Adnan, I was curious, just because you've done work like this before, you're professional, you've been around for a long time. Is there anything that surprised you about the Amazon Prime broadcast that you love about it that you weren't expecting?
Well, I think one thing that's really cool, David, is like when you're in an arena, you are at the mercy of the fans. So quite honestly, so many times I'm in the studio and it's a controlled environment and it's just point A to point B. It's very easy. It's Gretzky to Curry and we get it done. Even college football, when I was on the road, we're in a secluded environment there for ESPN, so it wasn't too abstract. But I'll tell you, that second game, the Leafs, we're like, our studio setup is right where the fans are walking in, gate 5 or gate 6. So I wasn't quite expecting how loud it was. And like normally I'm always, fidgeting with my earpiece, make sure the volume's loud. When they announced Matt Sundin was coming up, and again, we got Mark Messier with us, right? This is a big deal. There's fans cheering. Sundin, I was like, oh my God, I nearly blew out an eardrum. Like that crowd was really into it. So it makes me further appreciate when I see Krista Thompson doing Amazon Football Thursdays, or I see any broadcasters working, Kevin Burkhardt doing the World Series, like, people don't realize, David, like, oh, guy, how easy is this? Ask a guy a question, go to the next question. I'm like, yeah, but if you can't hear, you're at the mercy of being out there by yourself. So I appreciate the Leafs fanning for Sundin. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Got to read lips. And by the way, it was one of the first times ever, David, I could say to a player, I could say to him that I found him to be statuesque. Because right over my eye line was the statue of Matt Sundin outside, a 6'4" Swede. Normally you think you use that adjective with, a supermodel, Elle McPherson or something, but I got to call another man on national television statuesque in the case of Matt Sundin, because he's a 6'4" Swede.
You just made people of a certain age smile with that. Definitely.
You mentioned Mark Messier. You have a story, don't you?
Oh, so Roy, here's the thing. Again, my Flyers fandom goes back to 85, 87. So
yeah.
when I'm talking to him, I'm looking at a guy who made me cry when I was 9 years old. And Game 7 is a great series. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet, you'll love it. It's available right now on Prime, not only in Canada, but here in America. And one of them is, of course, the Game 7 Oilers-Flyers. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm watching this, because it's just so painful bringing back the memories. But it's cool seeing Messier and Gretzky and a lot of my buddy Elliot Friedman. But from Philly's perspective, you see a lot of Ron Hextall and Dave Poulin. And Hextall said to this day, he's met people who have told him, hey, because of that series, I became a hockey fan. The quality of hockey was so great. Hextall, as you guys know, memorably won the Conn Smythe, even though they lost that series in 7. And Dave Poulin's talking about it. Poulin goes like, why would I ever want to? People ask me, have you rewatched the game? I go, no, I lived it. Like, it was a heartbreak. Why would I ever want to watch that game again? So anyways, I'm talking to Messier off air about it a little bit. And he's like, oh, that game 7 was awesome. And then I mentioned Hextall. And I said, he goes, oh, Hexy's really good in the documentary. He's really, he goes, for a guy who was so fiery and such a pain out there, and like so aggressive and hostile, he was a really good interview because he explained their perspective. And I said, yeah. And he kind of paused and he goes, not crazy about a guy from the losing team winning the Conn Smythe. Another pause and he goes, but he was pretty effing good.
Yeah.
It's like, even Mark Messier all these years ago can appreciate that. And another thing about Moose, I'll mention this. We did the Coast to Coast show last night on Prime, which was actually shot in Secaucus, New Jersey, which is where I do MLB Network and NHL Network work. So it's that studio, but the game is available on Prime. Anyways, they want us to pre-tape the Open. You guys know sometimes these guys get a little bit finicky. Okay, fine, no problem. We do it, and then they go, hey, let's do one more. And I'm telling you, fellas, Messi is a nice guy. He's down to earth. He's very chill. But he got that glare in his eyes and goes, why? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I just looked in the eyes of a 26-year veteran who scored almost 700 goals and is a 6-time Stanley Cup champion. They go, well, let's just do one more. He's like, first one's always better. And they're like, well, let's just do one more. So we do the second take, and it was fine. Kevin Weeks is such a legend. He's such a pro. It was fine. But Moose looks at me and he's like, first one was better. And I'm like, whatever you say, Mass. Like, if looks could kill with that glare, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it sounds like he was about to throw one of his famous elbows there.
Oh, no.
All right, and you mentioned losing players winning the Conn Smythe, which brings me to my Florida Panthers. And there's a guy on the Florida Panthers this year that's just dominating. His name is Sam Reinhart, 57 goals last year.
Welcome to the show, Ethan.
At what point do we stop saying, oh, this guy's bound for regression at some point, and just say, this is a really good player that's going to score 40, 45 goals every year for the next 2 years?
And at what point do we actually start calling him Samson?
I love that. Go from Sam Reinhart to Samson, exactly. Well, Ethan, listen, he's awesome. We were watching a lot of that game last night. The Panthers, of course, they took care of business against the Predators, win yet again. I've just been impressed, Florida. Again, anytime you can be so good on the road, to me, that's the mark of a great team. They go 5-0. They take care of the Stars, a couple of those games in Finland. And then last night, really all over that Predators team, which looks old and slow and tired. And take that, Steven Stamkos, who plays the Predators again. Plays the Panthers again. This time as a member of the Predators. But yeah, Reinhart's awesome, man. There's no question about it. He's a dynamic player offensively. He brings so much to the table. I don't think there's any doubt he could be a 40, 50-goal player, as you said. Panthers look great right now. Mess was saying, he goes, with these teams, there is that Stanley Cup hangover at some point. And I said, is that a cliche? He's like, no, because it hits you around January, February, because you played so much hockey and you're playing at a high level. And he goes, of the 82 games, there's about 15 that are like really critical. Like, I'm not saying every game isn't critical, because I know what you mean, because there's the 15 games you go, these are absolute, measures and barometers, et cetera. And this was not that game against the Predators, of course. But like that Panthers-Oilers game will be so. A Panthers-Bruins game in January will feel that way. And he goes, those are the games you can tell whether or not they have it. But Reinhart specifically has been amazing. Panthers look great right now. No question.
You mentioned the Predators. On Tuesday, Barry Trotz was on radio, and he said, I'm trying to do some things right now. We will be limited a little bit because of contracts. If we don't get it going, then I'm going to have to start our rebuild plan. Since then, the Predators lost to the Capitals, and then they got smoked by the Panthers. Is it rebuild time?
I think it is, Roy. And Kevin Weeks made a great point to me. He said they're very right-handed shot heavy. And I said, okay. And he started going through the line. He goes, look at all these right-handed shot, right-handed shot, right-handed shot. I said, okay. And he goes, when you're game planning against a team like this, like, it becomes very easy because it's like you're only focusing on one part of the ice. And it doesn't matter like what sport it is. If you're too one-dimensional in one aspect, if you're an NBA team and you're too reliant on threes, if you're a baseball team and you're too reliant on home runs, if you're a hockey team and you have too many right-handed shots, he goes, it becomes an issue. Secondly, they said, both Mess and Weeks, he said, that team out there, they look old and they look slow and they look tired. And I like a little grit and I like a little sandpaper, and that's critical to my team. But that can't be like the emblem of my team. Like, I need to have talent. Ultimately, if you ask what I want, hard work or talent, like, obviously I take both, but I'll take the talent. Like, I'll just take a lazy floater who's exceptionally skilled, and somehow we're going to win this game. And I hope in Game 7 he learns to back check and we'll figure it out. But the Nashville, they seem thin on talent, and they just seem old and slow and tired. There's a specific stat, fellas. They're 30th in odd man rushes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, if ever there was a stat, right, Roy, that speaks to, that just sounds like you're old and slow and you're always up on your heels.
Yeah.
30th in odd man rushes. That's crazy right now for Barry Trotz's team.
So they're bad in transition.
Exactly. Like if you lose that puck and all of a sudden you're in transition, like they're in trouble. Like all of a sudden, like, oh God, 3-on-2, 2s-on-1s. Like specifically that number must just be outrageous. And I'm with you that it feels like it's rebuild time because I'm like, there's no one there thinking, okay, even if the most optimistic Predators fan, did you think they were going to get 10? I'm like, no, you probably thought playoff team, maybe a 6 or 7 seed, wildcard, et cetera. But if it's this bad right now, I think, just turn the page and move on.
So one last thing I wanted to get into before we wrap it up is happening in D.C. Alex Ovechkin has scored in 5 straight games. He's 33 goals behind Wayne Gretzky. Like we were talking before the season, like could it happen this year? And now I feel like we're saying could it happen by the All-Star break, or not the All-Star break, but the Four Nations, whatever.
No, you're right.
Like this is crazy, and I am loving every minute of it. I didn't think I'd love it as much as I am, but it's been so much fun to watch, Adnan.
No, I'm with you, David. I think he's an incredible player. It's funny, growing up as a proud Canadian, there's always been that rivalry, Canada, Russia, et cetera. You'd think someone like me would say, no, I want Gretzky to have the record forever. But I'm like, I love Ovechkin, man. I think he's been incredible for the sport. He's so charismatic. He's so dynamic. And you're absolutely right. Watching him last year, you said, oh, man, this is going to be like Willie Mays with the Mets. Like, he's just going to be sputtering towards the end. And will he break the record? Yeah. But it's only because he has a couple of years left on his deal, and he's going to be a 20-goal scorer who's just getting like garbage goals, empty net goals, power play goals, like easy ones. He's not going to be a 40-goal guy. Now, Ovechkin's on pace for 55 goals. Like, it's unbelievable. I was like, wow. Like, he can hit 60 this year. Like, that's nuts. That's Austin Matthews territory. And watching the Capitals this week specifically, like that shot when he one times at the power play, like it is absolutely a thing of beauty. If you and I, if all three of us had to write down just favorite hockey plays, hockey moments, signature moments, you go, man, Ovechkin from the faceoff circle, one-timer, it is awesome to watch. And as I said, he's been great for the game. To think 900 goals, and again, talking to Kevin and Mark last night, they go, hey, you know what, dude? He's not sitting there saying to himself, okay, 30, 25, let me get to 895. He wants 1,000. Like, this is the way these guys are built. They're going to go 900. I broke the record. I'm going to get 1,000. Imagine 1,000 goals without intervention. Like, these guys are machines. There's no point slowing down. And the Capitals have been an incredible story. Like, you talk about a team that looks like a legit cup contender. You don't think that energizes Alexander Ovechkin even more? So, it's amazing to think. It's inevitable he's getting 900 goals. And again, in today's game, fellas, it's so impressive. Again, I adore Gretzky, but that was a much more different style of hockey, much more offensive, far-away hockey. I'll get some people here living in Jersey, a lot of Bossy fans and the Islanders, et cetera. They'll say Bossy's still the greatest goal scorer ever. If you look at goals per game, I believe Mike Bossy, the late Mike Bossy, 0.76, So, I mean, I suppose you could have an argument. Obviously, the back injuries killed him. But I think for all of us, Ovechkin's going to be the greatest goal scorer of all time. He's a blast to watch.
Mike Bossy, bringing him up, that'll make Stugotz happy. Prime Canada, Monday Night Hockey. And Virk, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, fellas. Before I go, Roy, I have to read you Kevin Weeks because he's going to be in your stomping grounds next week. So I said, listen, Roy's not going to let you off the hook here. Him and David want to have you on the podcast. Got to have you on the hockey show. So he said specifically he'll do it, but he said he wants to know if you're available on Monday night to take him out. I'm going to make sure the same restaurant I have here. Oh, yes. He said specifically you need to go.
Joe's Stone Crabs.
Prime Italian, 9 p.m. You're paying. Is that the place to go?
Bring the Meadowlark card.
Yeah, that's going to get expensive. I'll tell you that. Get that garlic bread bowl.
Yeah.
He's happy to do the Hockey Show podcast, but he wants to be at that place, Italian Prime. Give him a little bacon, a little bit of a bread bowl. He'll be good to go.
Oh, yeah. That's a deal. We will be there.
Nice.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks, David. We'll talk soon, boys.
All right, brother. Be well.
Thanks, Adnan.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. The holiday season is right around the corner. That means you're away more, and burglars know it. That means you need to protect your home. Right now, Simply Safe is giving exclusive early access to its Black Friday sale to Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. If someone's lurking around or acting suspiciously, those agents see them in real time, talk to them directly, set off your spotlight, and even call the police before they've had a chance to break in. Simply Safe is offering my listeners exclusive early access to their Black Friday sale. This week only, you can take 60% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this holiday season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Folks, the NBA is finally back A new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards? Who's grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. My mouth is salivating at that deal. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Don Le Batard.
Kermit the Frog here, live from Meadowlark Media Studios here in Miami.
Stugotz.
The Germans are advancing on France in World War II.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, before we get into the Panthers recap for the week, I want to show a video of a hit that happened last night in the Kings-Canucks game. Tanner Jeannot had a match penalty for a hit that he laid on Brock Besser. It looked like the point of impact was the chest, but his shoulder ended up hitting Besser's head. He received a match penalty and will have an automatic hearing from the league.
In person.
Unless, but he's going to have an in-person hearing from the league. Most likely he's going to get suspended. But, again, he had his arm tucked. The point of impact to me looked like it was going to be the chest, and the shoulder hit his head. Dave, what do you think about this hit? Do you think he deserves a lengthy suspension on this?
Looks like there's going to be a suspension. I mean, it's not just the hit itself.
It was blindside.
It was a blindside hit. The puck was nowhere to be found. He took a couple of strides, lined him up. Jeannot knew what he was doing. It could have been avoided, and he could have not raised up. That's what always gets me is when you see them raise up to make that forcibly hit. So, yeah, I would be surprised if that doesn't end in a suspension. I could be wrong. I thought that I had heard that it was an in-person hearing, but right now all I see that there is a hearing.
Could be on Zoom.
Yeah, could be on Zoom.
Ethan, do you feel the same way?
It's pretty ugly, Roy. I mean, it's right up to the chin. It looks Trouba-esque, I would say. And anytime it looks Trouba-esque,
yeah, it's with Trouba, you see him launch. It's a little.
There's a bit of a difference between some Trouba hits, but yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, just the way everything's headed, and this is an ugly play. It looks like he takes it right on the chin.
This is the kind of thing that they're trying to get out of hockey. You don't want to get the big hits and all that out of the game. You want to get the ones that can concuss guys out of the game.
But as you said, it was interference.
Yeah, either way, it was a penalty. The puck wasn't there. The hit was illegal whether or not, wherever you hit him. It's just the severity of the hit itself is how you take that to the next level. Yes, where he first touched him, it appeared his chest, but the motion, it was chest, chin. I think that's a suspendable offense.
Okay, let's give out a number here. Do you say 3?
I think that's the over-under, and I'd probably take the under. I'm thinking this is like a 2-game suspension.
2-game suspension.
I'd agree.
All right, 2-game suspension.
So I guess maybe the over-under would be 1.5.
Man, I wish that we can get this on DraftKings, man. We could bet on this thing. I would probably win a lot of money. All right, let's go to the Panthers recap here. On Friday, they beat the Stars 6-4. These are the 2 games that were in Finland.
The
Finland games here, and they really trounced. They really trounced the Stars in both games. Really. Let's start with the first one. And Alexander Barkov scored in front of his hometown brethren, his family. So that was very nice. Why don't you go over what happened in game 1?
Game 1, it was kind of a Panthers blitz early on. They jumped out to the 2-0 lead. Evan Rodriguez scored, 20 seconds into the game. Sasha Barkov scored that nice goal to get everybody's attention, and then Dallas fought back a little bit. Yep. It felt like not an exhibition game, but it felt like an international game. It felt like a one-off type game because both Florida and Dallas are much more of a tight playoff style of hockey type of teams. And this felt like a rush game. This felt like a President's Trophy season for the Panthers, a game from that year where it was rushes back and forth, a lot of scoring chances both ways. But still, Florida, they've created this monster in South Florida that they can beat you in a lot of different ways. And in this game, it was Florida kind of dominating for the most part. They were up 6-2 before Dallas had a couple late goals on Bob, who really wasn't that tested in the second half of the game as much as he was in the first half. But just overall, it's a pretty resounding win for the Panthers and a nice start to their global series visit.
Two things from what you said there, David. First of all, I don't want to discredit just what the Panthers did to the Stars because it was an one-off in international play, right? Like, this was a big matchup. I mean, this is the best team in the East against Winnipeg right now is the best team in the West, I guess. But two of the Stanley Cup favorites, right? Many people would say. And it's an early season test to see how do you match up with one of the best teams in the league. And the Panthers whooped their ass. And I know they got the 2 goals late, which leads me to the second thing I wanted to mention, which is that Fuentes and I have been having discussions about it concerns him how we have to score 4, 5, 6 sometimes because we're giving up too late. A lot of these games are ending up a little higher scoring games. Look, I'm not worried about Bobrovsky come playoff time. I know that come the playoffs he'll lock in, but do you guys have a little bit of concern about some defensive issues with the Panthers maybe because you're starting to see some higher scoring games than you normally would, or is that something you just never worry about with the Florida
the goals
Panthers?
that you're talking about, these late game goals, these situational things that the Panthers where they're up big and then they give up a couple goals late, if these are tight games, you're having different personnel on the ice, you're playing matchups, you're approaching it differently. You're not like last night, you're not putting your fourth line guys out in the power play.
No, sure not.
You know what I mean?
Those fourth line guys were out for I didn't see Kachuk for the last 10 minutes of the game,
but that's the luxury of being a good team is that you can play this style and you don't have to, you can kind of shield minutes. You don't have to have Barkov killing every single penalty. So no, I'm not concerned because when the Panthers get locked in, they look great. So and for now, I'm fine with the way they're playing.
Cool. I'm going to show that to Fuentes.
I'm not concerned because if you're scoring 4 goals a game, you're doing something right. Pretty much.
The Panthers have been scoring like hotcakes lately too.
Yeah,
they're averaging.
Don't make me hungry. Do not
5 goals a game over this. I'm trying to distract you from the food. 5 goals a game of their 6-game winning streak. They're averaging. That's pretty good.
On Saturday, they played again. They beat them again, 4-2.
They did.
And that was a little bit tighter.
Covered both games.
Yeah, they covered both games. That was a little bit tighter. And in the end, of the 7 Finnish players from both teams, 4 from Florida, 3 from Dallas, combined from 11 points in the series. Alexander Barkov had 4. Niko Mikkola and Esa Lindell for Dallas, they each had 2. Anton Lindell and Eetu Luosterainen and Miro Heiskanen from the Stars, they each had 1. So 11 points from the Finns. The Finns showed up in this season series. And I can say season series because they're done.
What I liked about the second game, when you talk about comparing the 2 games, is obviously it was a much tighter game. Florida held Dallas to their lowest shot output in that third period of that last game. Of all the 6 periods that they played, that was the best defensive period that Florida played. And it was a 1-goal. It was tied, actually, going into the third. A.J. Greer got the game-winning goal. It was about 2.5 minutes into the third as I look at the stat sheet here.
Yeah.
But that was your more traditional type of Panther game, and they took a Dallas team that is very motivated and very talented, and they shut them down pretty well in that third period. So I really liked, overall, on the whole, both of those games in Finland. It would have been cool if we could have seen them in person.
Yeah.
I think one of the most encouraging signs from the Panthers so far is what they're doing in these third periods, because we touched on it earlier with Adnan about the championship hangover. We haven't really seen one from the Panthers yet. I'm a little concerned that they're kind of peaking a little early and maybe they'll start to run in. They're going to run into a rut at some point. It happens over the course of every NHL season.
It should have happened already.
But it should have happened. Exactly. It should have happened already. And to see them come out with the injuries to Barkov and Kachuk, who are so important late in those games, right? And after playing such a grueling playoff run and a short offseason with a short offseason the offseason before, right? To see them come out and to start the year and just still be the same Florida Panthers in the third period and just shut games down. I mean, they shut that game down last night. You know, there have been multiple games this year. I think against the Rangers, they just turned the game off in the third period completely. Like, it's what they do. It's what they're known for. And despite the thought that, they would have a championship hangover, they're doing it right out of the gates better than they have in years.
Yeah, shut down City in the third period, just like last year.
Just like last year. What I like about this team, to your point of the lack of a hangover, or what Adnan had said, that some of these teams, they experience the hangover in December, January, February. I want to see when the adversity strikes this team. Because what we've learned about this Panthers team over the last 2+ years under Paul Maurice is that they thrive under adversity. So when things happen to them, they overcome it every time. The only time that they didn't was when they ran out of games to play against Edmonton or against Vegas when everybody got hurt. They just ran out of time. So whenever the next bump in the road approaches, like I have confidence that this team is going to be able to overcome that just because that's all they do. They're built for it. They're built for the tough terrain. So yeah, bring it on.
They already did it this year. Sorry, Roy, just one more thing. They already did it this year, again, without Barkey and Chucky. Like, we were worried that Barkey would be out for a while and playing without your two best players to start the year for a fair amount stretch of games. Like, they were great in those stretches of games and more than stayed afloat like we were hoping for them to early in the season. So, yeah, I think you're right, David. They are built for anything that comes their way.
Last night, the Panthers defeated the Predators 6-2. Carter Verhaeghe had 2 goals and assists. Alexander Barkov had 3 assists. He has 11 points in 8 games. What the hell? That's crazy. But the Predators in last night's game, and we talked about this earlier, did not play. They had no fight until just about the end of the second period when they finally got themselves into a scrum in a game that they got thoroughly outmatched.
Well, they had lost the night before in D.C., so it wasn't terribly surprising. But again, is that really an excuse? Because good teams find ways to, as we're just talking about, good teams find ways to get things done.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, Florida was up 2-0 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
If there was any, internal juice that Nashville brought into that, Florida pulled it out of them really quick.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just a disastrous game for the Predators, and maybe Andrew Burnett's on the hot seat.
Well, I don't know, right? Because didn't Barry Trotz answer a question about that earlier this week? That somebody asked him if Andrew Burnett would be on the hot seat, and despite all the issues that they're having in Nashville, it sounds like Bruno is going to be okay for now. That the problems that at least Barry Trotz is seeing in that team aren't necessarily due to a lack
coaching.
It's not coming from behind the bench. We've talked about it a lot, but they built. I thought Nashville was going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of effort into building that team up during the offseason, and to see them fall flat in their face like this, it's still very early. And they could still turn it around. It wouldn't be surprising. I mean, Edmonton wasn't in a very much better situation at this point last year. Now, granted, Nashville doesn't have Connor McDavid, but they do have Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, UC Saros, Roman Josi.
Brady Shea.
So they've got a very, very talented team. Maybe they're top-heavy, but still, they're better than what they've shown.
They got good goaltending.
Yeah. Well, they got a good starting goaltender.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, they got a good starting goaltender. But, that was a poor showing for a team that should be better.
Definitely.
And if they don't get it right, it's over for them.
They're in trouble, Roy. Like, you can't make the playoffs in the first month and a half of the season, right?
But you can lose.
Can definitely miss the playoffs.
Yes.
And right now,
spots.
Nashville is trending towards definitely missing the playoffs. I was reading about them the other day, and basically what they were saying is that their metrics, they're shooting the puck their shooting percentage is super low. Like, it will positively regress at some point. But with the way their other metrics are, that's only going to cause their offense to regress to league average. It's not like all of a sudden the pucks are going to start going in and you're going to have this high-flying offense that's in the top 10 in the league. Like, they're going to be a league average offense based off chance creation, things they do at 5-on-5, things they're doing on the power play. Like, Stamkos will get rolling on the power play. He scored a power play goal last night, which, did you guys both have flashbacks watching that, seeing Stamkos from his office on the power play against the Panthers?
Yeah.
But, I just think that it might just not be a good team. Like, they spent a bunch in free agency, but it happens in every sport, where you go big in free agency and it doesn't always pay off. It's so much about drafting, building a core, trading for your core the way the Panthers have. Like, it might just be that they went too big in free agency and they're going to have to blow this up. And if they blow this up, Marchessault, Stamkos, I don't know if anybody's going to be safe, except probably Forsberg and Saros, right? Especially after Saros signed that extension.
That massive deal. So
O'Reilly.
It'd be interesting what kind of rebuild they're going to do with some of the contracts they have, but no.
Can we talk about Sam Reinhart, please?
Okay. We don't have time to get into
very good.
How good Sam Reinhart's season has been. All I can say right now is that the Panthers play the Flyers tomorrow. The Flyers are the second worst team in the Eastern Conference, and they are dead last in the Metro. And I don't want to brush them to the side like I did the first game versus Buffalo because I learned that lesson. But, I mean, that should be a win.
Yeah, well, just like the game against Nashville on Thursday should have been a win. Like if Florida shows up and does what they should do, then they should beat this Flyers team. That's right now they don't have anything in the goaltending department.
No,
they just scratched their high-end rookie. It's been a rough year. And you want to talk about hot seat? I would think Torts is probably on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in the New Jersey games coming up this week because the Devils are off to a great start this year. Hot pick for a lot of people for a deep run, maybe even a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that could be a conference championship.
That's two. Yeah, definitely.
They've
that's
got some good goaltending in Jersey between Markstrom and Allen. Those two guys have been
And
great.
Jack Hughes looks like he's about to get rolling. He made a great play last night. But 2 games at home for the Panthers against the Devils. That is going to be a big early season measuring stick for the Panthers and the Devils to see how they match up against each other.
Right. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Gino. And thank you, Danny. Thank you, David. And thank me.
Thank you, Roy.
All right. Goodbye.
Hey folks, it's Mike. Put the town on alert! This weekend begins the first edition of the Choque de Gigantes tournament right here in Miami, Florida. This 6-game tournament will run from November 8th to the 10th at Lone Depot Park. It's featuring the best league teams from Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. Game Time is offering 10% off on Choque de Gigantes tickets until Friday, November 8th. Game Time has this great feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting into your favorite games even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time Picks, it helps make curation easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater, and so much more. It also has all-in pricing, which for me is key. I hate it when I check out and I see all sorts of additional fees. Well, with one click of a button, you see all-in pricing, so there are no surprises at checkout, and you also get panoramic seat views. Take the guesswork at buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!